All right, so let's jump right into it. We're talking Manchester City and their latest match against Ipswich Town.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you probably saw the score, right?
Well,
A huge win for City, 6-0.
big win.
Their biggest win in almost a year.
It is.
But it's not just the win itself that has people talking,
Yeah.
It's what it tells us about City, about where they could be going this season.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely a statement from City, especially considering, they've had some ups and downs this season.
Right.
So to be coming off a 5-game unbeaten streak and then to top it off with a 6-0 victory, I mean, that's a real statement of a return to form.
Yeah. And, and let's not forget Ipswich Town. They're not just some team that you can just walk all over.
I know.
I mean,
Yeah.
their journey, from the lower leagues all the way up to the Premier League, that shows a lot of grit, a lot of determination.
It does.
So for City to just dominate them like that, I mean, that's really saying something.
Absolutely. And it wasn't all just, brute force. There were actually a lot of tactical things going on in that match that really highlight what makes City such a dangerous team.
Okay, so let's break that down a little bit.
Okay.
First off, Phil Foden.
Yeah.
2 goals and an assist just in the first half.
Oh, he was on fire.
He just had that shoot just dancing through Ipswich's defense.
Right through them.
We've seen these flashes of brilliance from them before, but this match, I don't know, it just felt different, like something had clicked.
Yeah, I mean, what's really interesting with Foden is this isn't just a hot streak. It seems like a real transformation. I mean, you remember last season he was pretty vocal about his struggles, saying he wasn't really enjoying his football.
Right.
And now 6 goals in his last 6 Premier League games, and you can see the joy in him when he's playing.
Yeah, it's like he's finally free from whatever was holding him back before.
Exactly.
Speaking of freedom, the way City was playing tactically, it was all about space. They were exploiting every inch of it. And it wasn't just Foden, doing his own thing. It felt very calculated, like they were systematically dismantling Ipswich's defense.
Yeah, it was. And that was the midfield trio, De Bruyne, Gundogan, and Kovacic. They were the key to it all. I mean, they were like a 3-headed monster, pressing high, winning the ball back so fast, and then launching these attacks. I mean, Ipswich just couldn't handle it.
De Bruyne, man, he was just pulling all the strings out there. It was like he was conducting an orchestra.
Yeah.
And every pass just seemed to cut right through Ipswich's backline, putting Foden and the other attackers in perfect position to score.
Yeah, and what's funny? Holland didn't even have that big of a game.
Right.
I mean, he only scored 1 goal.
Yeah, it's strange to say that only 1 goal from Holland is a quiet day. I mean, The guy still found the back of the net, but compared to what we're used to seeing from him, this wasn't exactly peak Holland.
It wasn't. So what's going on there? I mean, was he just off, or is there something else going on?
Right. Well, you've got to figure, even when the goals are coming easy, a guy like Holland, he's wired to score. That hunger doesn't just go away.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is the goal he did score came from a counterattack.
Right.
So that just goes to show how versatile City can be, right? They can control possession, but they can also hit you on the break when you least expect it.
So they're not just this one-dimensional attack, right?
They're
They can hurt you in different ways, and that just makes them so hard to defend against. It's like having to prepare for a hurricane and an earthquake at the same time.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And I think if we look at City's season as a whole, this win really does more than just give them 3 points, right?
Yeah.
It shows us that they're starting to find themselves again, find their swagger, that ability to really control a match from the first whistle to the last.
So is this the City that we can expect to see week in and week out now? I mean, are they going to just steamroll everybody and take back the top spot? Well, the challenge for City is going to be taking that dominance and turning it into consistency, right?
Yeah.
Because they've got some massive matches coming up. Chelsea, Arsenal, Newcastle, Liverpool, all teams who are going to be looking to take them down.
Yeah, that's a tough run of games, no doubt. I mean, the next few weeks are really going to test City, see if they can keep up this level of intensity against the best of the best.
Yeah, and that's where the mental side of things comes in, right? Guardiola has talked about the tough times they've had this season, the pain and the suffering, but he's also talked about the joy and the pleasure of this performance.
Right.
I think that shift in mindset could be the key for them going forward.
Okay, so let's dig into that a little bit. What does this joy and pleasure, what does that tell us about where City are at mentally right now?
Well, I think it shows that they've moved past those early setbacks, the frustration, and they've rediscovered that passion, that love for the game that really brings out their best.
Yeah, it's like they finally exhaled, They've let go of all that pressure, and they're playing with that same sense of liberation we saw from them when they were winning championships. And speaking of liberation, James McAtee,
Right.
coming off the bench, scores his first Premier League goal.
Yeah.
Beautiful header.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd went wild.
Great moment. And it really brings up an interesting aspect of how City approaches things, right?
Yeah.
They're not afraid to give young players a chance to shine on the big stage.
It's a risky strategy, but the payoff can be huge. Look at Foden, right? He's the perfect example of what can happen when you give talent the space to grow.
Absolutely. And McAtee, I mean, his performance has definitely got people talking. Can he follow in Foden's footsteps?
Right.
Can he make a place for himself in this City squad that's just loaded with talent?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? I mean, the potential is clearly there, but the competition is fierce.
Yeah.
We'll just have to wait and see if he can rise to the challenge.
We will.
And that's what makes City so compelling to watch, right? You've got these established superstars mixed with these young guys coming up, and all of it being orchestrated by one of the best tactical minds the game has ever seen.
One of the best.
You know, before we move on, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier, City's defense.
Yeah.
I mean, they've always been known for their attacking firepower, but against Ipswich, their defense was just a wall. What were the key factors in their defensive dominance?
Well, it's a mix of individual brilliance and just total team discipline, right? You've got world-class defenders like Dias and Stones who are just masters at reading the game, shutting down danger before it even develops.
Right.
But it's also the team's commitment to defending as a unit, pressing high, tracking back, covering for each other. You can't teach that.
Yeah, like a perfectly tuned machine.
Yeah.
Every part working in sync. They're not just defending their own goal, they're suffocating their opponents. They just can't create any real chances.
And that sets City apart from a lot of other attacking teams, right? They don't just outscore you, they shut you down completely, you know, leave you feeling frustrated and demoralized.
So you have a team that's rediscovering their attacking flair. They're playing with joy and freedom.
Right.
And they're backed by this rock-solid defense. I mean, that's a recipe for success. But can they maintain this level of performance over the course of the entire season?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? We'll have to see how they handle the pressure, the fatigue, all the challenges that come up in a long season. But one thing's for certain, City is a force to be reckoned with. They've let everyone know that they're back and they're ready to compete for trophies. It's easy to get caught up in all the, tactics and stuff. Yeah. But honestly, what really stood out to me about the City performance was the energy, the passion. They weren't just playing, they were playing with fire.
Yeah, it's like they'd been holding it all in, And this match was their chance to finally let loose.
Exactly. I mean, Guardiola even said it himself. He talked about the pain and suffering of the last few months,
Right.
But then he talked about the joy and pleasure in this performance. It's a good reminder that even at this level, even for these guys, football is an emotional game.
Yeah, we talk a lot about formations and tactics and all that, but the mental side of it, that's huge, right?
Oh, for sure.
When a team is in sync emotionally, when they're having fun, playing with confidence, that takes their game to a whole other level.
Absolutely. I mean, think about Foden again. Last season, it was like he was trapped, couldn't really express himself. Now he's out there smiling, taking risks, trying things he never would have before. It's not just tactics. It's like he's found that spark again.
And that spark, he's like, it spread to the whole team. The way they were moving the ball, the pressing, even the way they celebrated goals, it was all just so energetic.
They've tapped back into that team spirit, that feeling of being all in it together. That's what made them so dominant before. And that's not something you can coach. That has to come from within.
Yeah, that's what separates the good teams from the great teams.
Yeah, exactly.
Being able to not just play well individually, but connect with each other, feed off each other's energy, and create something special.
And you see that in the way they're defending now, too. It's not just about individual brilliance. It's about everyone being disciplined, working as a unit, shutting down the other team.
Yeah, they're defending with the same intensity, the same hunger that they attack with. It's like they're on a mission, proving everyone wrong, showing everyone that they can dominate on both sides of the ball.
And for any team facing City, that's got to be terrifying, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's not just that world-class attack. It's that they're relentless in every part of the game.
Okay, so let's focus on one specific tactic that really caught my eye. Their transitions, going from defense to attack. They were so fast. Win the ball back, boom, counterattack. Ipswich didn't know what hit them.
That's classic Guardiola, right? always wants his teams to be in control, dictating the pace, punish the other team with speed and precision. But it's not just about running fast, it's about being smart about it.
Yeah, reading the game, knowing when to strike, where the space is going to open up.
Yeah.
De Bruyne was incredible at that, picking out those passes that just cut right through Ipswich's defense.
And the movement from the forwards was perfect too, especially Foden. I mean, he was pocking up everywhere, finding space that Ipswich couldn't cover. It was like a master class in how to exploit a defense.
You know, they say the best teams can hurt you in a lot of different ways. And that's definitely true with City. They can dominate possession with their passing, or they can hit you on the break. It's like they have two completely different weapons they can use.
And that makes them so hard to plan for, right?
Yeah.
I mean, do you sit back and try to absorb the pressure, knowing that they can pick you apart with one pass? Or do you press high and risk getting caught on the counter? It's a tough choice.
Speaking of tough choices, let's talk about James McAtee.
Okay.
Great goal, fantastic moment for him. But it does make you wonder about his future with the club.
Yeah.
I mean, can he really break into this starting lineup with all this talent? Or is he going to have to go out on loan somewhere to get regular playing time?
It's a tough one. On one hand, he clearly has the talent to play at this level.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, the competition at City is insane. It'll be interesting to see how Guardiola handles it.
And all about finding that balance, isn't it? Nurturing young talent, but also winning trophies.
Exactly. And it says a lot about City's youth development that they have so many good young players coming through. But the reality is not all of them are going to be able to become starters at a club like this.
You know, before we wrap up this part of the deep dive, I do want to give Ipswich Town some credit.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were on the wrong end of a tough scoreline, but they never gave up. They kept fighting, kept trying to create chances. They showed a lot of heart.
Definitely. You know, they were up against one of the best teams in the world, but they kept their heads up. And their manager, Kieran McKenna, he deserves credit for that. He's built a team with a lot of fighting spirit.
They're clearly well coached. And even though they're not at City's level yet, they have the potential to do some good things in the Premier League. It's easy to get caught up in all the big flashy plays, right?
Yeah.
Foden scoring, De Bruyne with those amazing passes.
Right.
But there was one guy out there just quietly running the show, controlling the pace of the game from midfield.
Oh, absolutely.
Ilkay Gundogan.
Yeah, he was everywhere.
I mean, he was like a puppet master.
Yeah.
Pulling all the strings.
He's kind of the unsung hero of this team, isn't he? He doesn't always get the attention, but he's so crucial to how they play.
Yeah. He's the engine that keeps it all running. What impressed you the most about his performance?
His awareness, for sure. It's like he always knows where to be. Break up an attack, open up a passing lane for a teammate. He's always in the right spot at the right time.
And his passing is just, it's a thing of beauty.
Yeah.
Short passes, long passes. He always makes the right decision.
Yeah, and it's not just the technical skill, it's the intelligence behind it. He's always thinking ahead, knows what his teammates are going to do before they do it.
Yeah, it's like he's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers.
Right.
Always in control, never seems to make a mistake.
And that calmness, it spreads to the rest of the team. Everyone feels more confident, more composed when he's out there.
Okay, so let's talk about another aspect of City's game that was really impressive. Their defense. They've barely conceded any goals this season, and against Ipswich, they were like a brick wall.
Well, that's Guardiola's system, right? Defensive discipline from every player on the pitch.
Yeah,
and
right.
they've all bought in.
You've got world-class defenders, Diaz, Stones.
Oh, yeah.
But it's more than that. It's the team effort, the willingness to work hard, cover for each other.
They defend with the same intensity that they attack with. It's like a switch flips as soon as they lose the ball.
Yeah, and that's what makes them so tough to beat, that ability to defend as a unit, not just relying on one or two guys.
And that's how you win championships, right? Not just by scoring goals, but by preventing them too. And City's got that balance right now.
Okay, so as we wrap up our deep dive on this match, what's the main takeaway for you? What stands out as the biggest sign of what City's capable of this season?
For me, it's that feeling of renewal, of rediscovering that joy in their game, the freedom. They're playing with confidence, swagger, and a real hunger to win.
They've gone through some tough times, learned from their mistakes, and come out the other side stronger. And that's what makes this City team so exciting to watch.
They've got the talent, the tactics, and now they've got the right mindset.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun to see how they handle the challenges ahead. But one thing's for sure, they're contenders, and they're not going away anytime soon.
There you have it, folks. We've broken down City's performance, looked at the tactics, the individual players, the mental side of things. We hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into the world of Premier League football.
Absolutely. Keep exploring, keep analyzing, and most importantly, keep that passion for the beautiful game alive.